Welcome back to the Sound for More channel. It's Leo speaking. Today I have the pleasure to show you a little bit more about tracks inside Logic Pro for iPad. Before I continue, I would like to remind my viewers to subscribe as it helps with growing the channel. Thank you very much. Okay, let's kick off. Let's click on the plus sign and create a new project, and we select a project based on tracks. Okay, so we talked already a little bit about tracks in previous tutorials, but let's go a little bit deeper. So if you click on the three dots, let's start with the Midi track. Let's click on that. So we can decide if to use external Midi, for which, of course, if you activate that, you can decide what is the Midi output port, which in this case is very nice. You can use the Logic Pro Virtual out as well as a port. Also what MIDI channel you want to assign as output as well, which is important. And also if you want to have audio in activated or not, the type of format for your audio, mono or stereo, and then your input in this case is going through my Samsung interface. Let's disable for now the use of external MIDI. Next, you have the selection for patch and instrument. So if you click on that, then you can select none. Or you can select the default patch. Or you can go to instrument, and then you have this selection between Logic Pro and additional audio unit. Let me show you different type of tracks that you can create using Logic Pro internal instrument. So as you can see here, you have a drum kit designer, a drum synth, and a drum machine designer. You have sampler here, quick sampler, a sample using Alchemy, and also multi-sample sampler as well. You also have some famous studio instrument like studio horns and strings, and then this is where you have synthesizer which are coming from the desktop edition. So you have Alchemy, EFM1 for your FM synth, your ensemble, synth monophonic, polyphonic synths, synthesizer 1 and 2 for ES1 and ES2. And if you use the desktop version, you know what we are referring to. A vocoder synth, retro synth, a sculpture modeling synth, lots. Then under utility, you can have an external instrument, test oscillator, and also clock gist. And then you have vintage keys like the V3 organ, the vintage clav, the vintage electric piano, and mellotron. And then below, of course, you have instrument, a UV3 instrument, and also MIDI control effects, a UV3. Okay, let me show you a little bit, for example, of the synthesizer. So let's go for Alchemy, like so. We leave for the browser to be open, and also for the type to be preset is fine. We click create. So you can see the browser is now open now. We close it, and we have a track here with an instrument called instrument number 1, and that's the icon. So if we click here on the plugin, we can see the instrument, which is Alchemy. If you double click on Alchemy, you can see, and let's maximize the view, you can see Alchemy, okay, which is your instrument using the Alchemy synth. And I will create a tutorial for these as we continue in the series of tutorials. Okay, let's create now another track. Okay, and again, let's make it of type MIDI, and let's change the instrument, and let's choose something like, for example, these EFM1 FM synth, frequency modulation synthesis. So let's click on create. And as you can see, we have it here on the plugin view. Double click on it, and again you will see the new synth, and you can scroll up and down to actually see the different type of controls. Okay, let's create a few more just to give you an idea of how much there is inside Logic Pro. So let's go to synthesizer again, and this time let's choose, for example, the retro synth. We don't want to have the open browser anymore. Let's click create. Let's double click on the retro synth. Let's maximize the screen. And as you can see, you have the retro synth or controls on the screen. So very, very rich. Again, let's do another one. So let's go in this time, instead of retro synth, let's go for sculpture, a modeling synth. So let's click create. Let's double click on sculpture. Let's maximize the view. And I just wanted to give you a quick view of this synth and the number of controls that you currently have that comes with sculpture. Really nice indeed. Okay, let's continue. So you could, as I mentioned, change again the instrument. You could do, for example, a drum synth. Let's click create. And again, let's double click on drum synth, and there is your drum synth. Okay, so let's create again another track, and let's choose a different instrument as well, and so on and so forth. So for example, a sampler is actually quite interesting. So if I select quick sampler and then I click create, again, you have a quick sampler, which is widely used inside Logic Pro. And you can see here it says no audio file loaded. Okay, but then it gives you a sense of, again, all the parameters that you have. You can adjust the pitch, the filter, the amp, etc., etc. It's really nice to see that you have a sampler inside. But again, you could, for example, go for a sample Alchemy as well. So again, another track with a different type of instrument. And again, you can open then sample Alchemy here. Okay, so really nice. Okay, let's go back again to adding tracks. Of course, we covered enough in terms of instrument here, so I'm not going to continue. But if, let's see what it means creating an audio track. So let's go to audio track. You can change the format here to mono and stereo, the channel, depending on the interface you have, if you wanted to have it ascending or no. If you want to have input monitoring, which is nice, the patch, if you want to have a default patch or an empty audio track, okay. And then if you want to have the open browser, and click create, and there it is, okay. And of course, at the moment, you don't have anything. Let me mute this. You don't have anything active in terms of region here on the track editor, but again, to show you that you can create an audio track, okay? So let's click on the plus sign again, and let's create a pattern now. And again, different type of option. You can use external MIDI, patch instrument, and have the open browser, very similar to your MIDI instrument. So let's click create, and there it is. We have now our pattern, okay? And let me close the editor here and also the plugin as well. You can see here a different track, okay? Let's click on the plus sign again. There was the pattern. You can also create a drummer track. Again, the option very standard, okay? You can select the genre here, but let's create. And there it is. Let's again close the editor, and that is your drummer track, which comes already with a region already created here on inside the track editor. Okay, let's also continue, and now let's create patches, loop, sample. If you click on it, it opens up the browser, and here is where it allows you to select what you like as samples, as loops, etc., etc. So let me give you an example. So let's go to sample, and let's click and drag this sample down here, and it will say, okay, do you want me to create a new track with a sample Alchemy, with a quick sampler, or with the drum machine designer? Which one would you like me to use? Let's say quick sampler. And it has created now. It has used that sample to create effectively an instrument using that particular sample, which is really, really nice. And if you see inside the plugin, is using the quick sampler, because that is what we have selected. right? Okay, let's close the plugin. Now, if I was to drag and drop these in an area below, like so, it will create an audio channel, which you see the icon here is the same of this icon up here. So this is an audio channel, okay, or audio track, I should say, no channel. And of course, if I click on the editor, you can see the audio channel, you see the waveform, of course. And here we have a region for that waveform, as here we have a region for the drummer. Okay. At the same time, if I go back here, I could do the same on loops, right? So I could just drag and drop here. And again, it will say, how do you want me to use the loop? Using Sample Alchemy, a quick sampler, a drum machine designer. So just tell me what you'd like to use. So let's say Sample Alchemy. Again, it will create an instrument using that loop. Okay, really, really nice. Now, you can see you have a lot of different tracks that you can use. So a mixture of all of them. Let me close the browser for now. You can see some of them have a region here on the track editor. Others don't. Indeed, for some of them, like a Midi region, you need to click, and then you need to actually create, select it first, click, and then it will give you the option to create a Midi region like so. And you can continue like so for all the others. When you go to an audio track here, if you click here, it doesn't give you an option to create a region because you need to record. You can see it has a red on R, which means it's recording. So we could say record. Okay, now it has recorded this region here, which if I put the playhead here, you will hear it, what it has recorded. Oops, it is on mute, so let's reposition it and play again. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, that is what it has recorded. Similar on this track here, the pattern, you have to click on here and then you can create a pattern region. There it is. Okay, we'll cover these in other tutorials. And of course, on the other tracks, again, you can decide to create a different region as you like. But we'll cover more about the regions in the next tutorial. Okay. See you next time. Thank you. Bye.